Hey, Dena here from the Game Den. I figured it was about time I did another vlog, and I'm doing this one a little bit differently just because. As I'm recording this, I'm actually taking a day off of work. One thing that's nice about the place where I work at is you get a floating holiday to use the month of your birthday, so my birthday is actually August 17th, which is on Sunday, and obviously I can't use it on that day because I don't work on the weekend, so I decided to use it today instead, and today just happens to be the day when I wanted to record my vlog, so there you go. Okay, so I'm very pleased and kind of surprised that everyone seems to like Pixels as Big as Cats so much. It was just something I did as an extra thing. I thought, oh, when I decided that I would try to start uploading a video every 2 weeks, I just figured, you know, oh, I'll find something to talk about, or I'll do a vlog, or I'll do one of my how-to videos, or whatever. And I thought, well, you know, what if I don't have anything like that to post? Then what will I do? I figured, well, I'll just do quick little reviews of Atari 2600 games, you know, whatever. It's good filler. But it seems that people really like Pixels as Big as Cats, which again kind of surprises me a little bit, but I'm not complaining. I'm glad everybody likes it. I guess I'll probably start doing a lot more of those now that it's kind of taken off, I guess you could say. Okay, so audience participation time. I want to express a little opinion I have, and it's related to video games. And it would be kind of cool if people would have video responses, but if you just want to post like a text response, that's okay too. I'm just a little bit curious what people think about this. Using Game Genie / Game Shark to play video games. Personally, I never really used it a lot, but there were certain games I used to like to play that were maybe just a little too hard, or maybe they had like one little, you know, like they were like not fair about how many continues they gave you or something, and I would like, you know, make it a little bit easier. It's almost like putting it on an easier difficulty than the difficulties they have already in the game. That makes sense? I didn't originally want to mention any examples because these are games I'm probably going to cover on the Game Den eventually, and I usually try to kind of keep those under wraps, but what the hell. I'm not even sure when I'm going to cover them, or even if I'm definitely going to do it, so I'll go ahead and mention them. One game I used to play a lot, that I used cheat codes on pretty much consistently, was Echo the Dolphin for the Sega Genesis. Now, that game was huge. The levels were just freaking enormous, and it had beautiful graphics, and it was so fast, and it was just a really pretty game, and it was just such an awesome concept, but that game was just ridiculously hard. I mean, you had to constantly make sure you had enough air. You could run out of air and die. You know, there were things that would kill you with one hit. You could get, like, well, really the only one-hit kills were when you could get crushed, but there were certain levels where that could happen, like, really easily. So what they did was they had one of those cases where when you beat a level, it would give you a password so that you could enter that password next time you played, so you could more or less pick up where you left off. And there was a cheat code you could put in called Life Fish, and you put it in the level select thingy, and it would make it so you wouldn't have to breathe. Now that would be really helpful for like the first few levels, but the game is so freaking hard. I actually eventually started using a debug code. Oh crap, I think the power might go out because there's lightning, and I just had a brown out there, so hopefully that won't happen. So there was a debug code you could enter for Echo the Dolphin, and you can mess with the settings a lot. You could go to any level and do all kinds of funky stuff, but the only code I ever used was the invincibility code, because believe it or not, the game was so big and so involved, and especially in Echo the Dolphin 2, there were so many levels where you could just fall off the screen and die, and the game's still one hell of a challenge, even with the invincibility code on, and even if it wasn't challenging, it's so long that, you know, let me put it this way, having an invincibility code for this particular game doesn't really take away your enjoyment out of it. With a lot of games, it's like using an invincibility code would make it too easy, and therefore wouldn't be any fun, but that is so not the case with Echo the Dolphin. The game is so big and so involved that, you know, it made it more fun because it wasn't so damn frustrating. I'm not too ashamed to say that I used a cheat code for that game because it's, at least for me, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who could beat it, but at least for me, it's the only way I could get through it. Another example is a kind of obscure fighting game for Sega Genesis called Eternal Champions. And the thing about Eternal Champions is that I'm sure other fighting games have done this since, but at the time this was the first one I saw that did this. The characters could do these insane moves that would have been really cheap, and they make like they can become invincible for like a few seconds and stuff like that, and it would have been like way cheap in any other game. But what they did to kind of balance it out was they have this meter. Various moves will, you know, deplete the meter a little bit, and it's like if your meter was empty, you couldn't do any of these moves, and some of them, the meter would have to be filled up completely to do them. These are like the really cheap moves, right? Well, that's fine. That's a pretty good trade-off, I think. But the thing is, that would work perfectly if you were going against another player. But I used to play against the computer a lot, and for some reason, whenever the computer would do one of those crazy special moves that depletes the bar, it doesn't matter how much the bar would deplete, they could still keep doing those moves, and the computer would be really cheap, and you would be just about to deliver a final blow, and then they would do one of these crazy moves that they should not be able to do because their bar is used up, and they would win, and it would be unfair. And so there was one Game Genie code that I used to always like consistently use whenever I played Eternal Champions, as long as I wasn't going against a human opponent. I think I even remember it. I think it was RGZT L6XA. I might be thinking of something else, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And what it did was that it made it so you would not have to have your bar filled up to do all the crazy moves. And believe it or not, I would actually, you know, I would try not to be cheap, really. I would only do it if I had to, if it was the only way to win a match against the computer. But, you know, this is going against a computer opponent, and, you know, who cares if you're unfair against the computer? The computer's not going to get mad about it. So, you know, and I kind of feel like maybe games should have infinite continues. So sometimes I would pick infinite continues as a, you know, that kind of cheat code on a game, because, you know, if you're playing in an arcade, you know, there's no limit to how many quarters you can put in, so you can just keep going. So I don't know why some console games make it so they have a limited number of continues. So I would use that kind of code. So what I'm gradually getting at is I would like to hear your thoughts on this, just out of curiosity. What do you all think about using, you know, Game Genie codes, or just like the Konami code, whatever, various cheat codes? I'm curious what you all think about using those. Do you ever use them yourself? Do you like, are you okay with other people using it? Do you think it's, I don't know, whatever. I just want to hear your opinions. The only thing I ask is try not to get, you know, snarky or anything like that about it. I mean, they're just video games.